morning, good morning. So happy to be here. We are the Mount Vernon Chamber Singers. I'm Dr. James Wolter, the artistic director of this fantastic group. We are so excited and honored to share this program with you, which is music from the time of the colonial era. Now, this piece that you just heard was in Spanish from California in 1769, so right before the onset of the Revolutionary War. Of course, California had no role in that, but it was still of the time. And what was going on, what would be eventually America, I just think it's interesting to know what's going on coast to coast. So I hope you enjoyed that Spanish piece celebrating Joseph, Mary and Joseph, that Joseph. The next one composer will be featured, as he is like the star-shining composer of American choral music during the colonial era, and that is William Billings. And so the next one will be When Jesus Wept the Falling Tear, a very well-known round in the choral community. So we hope you enjoy this selection by William Billings.
When Jesus wept the falling tear, in mercy flowed beyond all bound. When Jesus groaned a trembling fear, seized all the guilty world around. When Jesus wept the falling tear, in Jesus wept the falling tear, when Jesus wept a falling tear, since Jesus wept a falling tear, since Jesus cried a gentle flow, since Jesus trembling fear, seized all the guilty world around.
All right, the next selection is an arrangement from a spiritual, and for those that don't know the origin of spirituals, it comes from one of the darkest chapters, I say, of American history, and that's when the institution of slavery was alive and well. And so whether it was to give a little hope, give a little inspiration, or simply take up time during these long, exhausting hours in the fields, enslaved people would sing songs. Some of them were work songs, and in a lot of cases they were religious in nature. So this one, Soon I Will Be Done, while we don't have any written, this piece was first sung by this person in 1750, we know it comes from this rich tradition. And so later composers would arrange them and concertize them, in part to keep the repertoire alive. So in singing this, we honor those enslaved people that were under that awful institution. And I do recommend that at some point today, as you're going through the Mount Vernon areas, you find that spot that is for the unmarked graves of enslaved people on the Mount Vernon estate, because again, we honor them and we recognize that we don't always live up to our ideals as a nation, but we certainly try to make them better each day. All right? So this is Soon I Will Be Done from the great spiritual arranger, William Dawson.
the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, gone home to live with God. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, gone home to live with God. I want to meet my mother. I want to meet my mother. I want to meet my mother. Going to live with God. I want to meet my mother. I want to meet my mother. I want to meet my mother. Going to live with God. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, going home to live with God. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, going home to live with God. No more weeping and wailing, no more weeping and wailing, no more weeping and wailing, going to live with God. No more weeping and wailing, no more weeping and wailing, no more weeping and wailing, yes, no more weeping, no more wailing, no more Soon we'll be done with the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Soon we'll be done with the troubles of the world, gone home to live with God. Soon we'll be done with the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Soon we'll be done with the troubles of the world, gone home to live with God. I want to meet my Jesus. I want to meet my Jesus. I want to meet my Jesus. Going to live with God. I want to meet my Jesus. I want to meet my Jesus. I want to meet my Jesus. Going to live with God. I'm going to live with God. I'm going to live with God.
All right, the next three we're going to do are by that William Billings composer as well. And just a quick note about the text of the first one, David's Lamentation. This is done during the Revolutionary time where the text is very short. All it says is, David the king was grieved when and moved. He went to his chamber and wept. And as he wept and said, O my son, would to God I had died for thee, Absalom, my son, my son. And you think how this might resonate with the people in wartime who sent their sons to fight in this Revolutionary War, and many of whom died, that this text would be very, very hard to get through, hard to hear, as it would relate to their lives in the most unfortunate way. So well set by William Billings, and so put yourself in that mind frame of how someone in the colonial era that lost a relative might feel. That why was it you? Why couldn't have it been me who passed away? Because the love of them was so great that they would rather sacrifice themselves than their family members. So David's Lamentation, and then we'll do Kittery, which is the first part of the Lord's Prayer, and then I'll talk a little bit about the third one before that point. Here's David's Lamentation.
kingdom come, thy kingdom come,
thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Kingdoms of earth and life and the world is handing on. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done throughout this earthly frame.
All right, so this next piece is a bit cheeky. I think Americans have had a long history of being cheeky and tongue-in-cheek. So there's we think of classical music as being very serious, very austere. We should applaud at the appropriate times and whatnot. And so William Billings in this next piece is just poking fun at that, saying, well, we're the singers, and we like this key, and we like to change it up here. And then, oh, we're ending the piece now, so if you could please be ready to applaud. Absolutely tongue-in-cheek. So I hope you enjoy this kind of weird, quirky piece, because honestly, William Billings was weird and quirky as well. So here's modern music.
We are met for a concert of modern invention.
To tickle the ear is our present intention. The audience are seated, expecting to be treated with a piece of the best, with a piece of the best. And since we all agree to set the tune on E, the author's darling key, he prefers to the rest.
Let the bass take the lead.
Let the song take the swell, and the rest of the wonderful thing, but express it in full fugue away. Then change to brisker time, and up the ladder climb, and down again, and mount the second time, and end the strain. Then change the key to pensive tones, and so in treble time the notes exceeding low keep down a while, then rise by slow degrees. The process surely will not fail to please. Through column and treble we jointly have run, we'll give you their essence compounded in one. Although we are strongly attached to the rest, 6/4 is the movement that pleases us best, that pleases us best. 6/4 is the movement that pleases us best. And now we address you as friends to the cause, performers or martyrs and write their own laws. Although we are sanguine and clap at the bars, 'tis a part of the hearers to clap their applause, to clap their applause. 'Tis a part of the hearers to clap their applause.
I am so thankful you clapped, because that would have been really awkward. So thank you for that. All right, this next one by Billings was a favorite of the time of the Revolutionary War because at this point the British Army and Navy had lost some embarrassing battles, and so what William Billings does is he name drops these generals and these admirals. They're like, they're so bad that our beardless boys are beating them. Yes, we're going to sing about beardless boys. Only with the Mount Vernon Chamber Singers will you hear songs about beardless boys. But anyway, again, this is one of the first times of propaganda where it's just like, come on, Americans, let's rally to the cause. The British had nothing on us. We can beat them, let's go. So we hope you enjoy this very patriotic tune named Chester, of all things.
Let tyrants shake their iron rod, and slavery plague her galling chains. We fear them not, we trust in God, New England's God forever reigns. Howe and Burgoyne and Clinton too, with Prescott and Cornwallis joined, together plot our overthrow in one infernal league combined. When God inspired us for the fight, their ranks were broke, their lines were forced, their ships were shattered in our sight. Oh, swiftly driven from our coast, the foe comes on with mighty stride. Our troops advance with martial noise. Their veterans flee before our youth, and generals into beardless boys. What grateful offering shall we bring? What shall we render to the Lord? Loud hallelujahs let us sing, and praise His name for every chord.
So we have time for just one more before the Purple Heart ceremony officially starts, and we're going to go back to that folk oral tradition here for our last selection. This one is Shenandoah, a beloved American folk tune that again was passed down generation to generation, so we don't have in 1784 Bill sang this song that was really, no, we don't have that, but we do know it was started to be written down in the early 1800s, so we can assume then it was being sung beforehand. So we hope you enjoyed this concert of American music during the colonial time, and thank you again for having us.
Oh, Shenandoah, I long to see you, and
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's great to see you all on this wonderful day. I'm Dee Dee Petri, the 24th Regent of the Mount Vernon Ladies Association. And on behalf of all of us here, I want to say welcome and to say thank you for your service. Well, I need not tell you that 2026 is a very important year as all of us celebrate 250 years of independence. Now, on our website, we keep track of what George Washington was doing 250 years ago. And I hope after you leave this today, you will go home and become addicted to this particular part of our website. And we may think we have it tough, but let me share with you Washington's correspondence of August 6, 1776. And he writes, "Since the settlement of these colonies, there has never been such just occasion of alarm, or such an appearance of an enemy, both by sea and land. I am therefore to request you to call forth your regiment without delay, and have them equipped with blankets, arms, and ammunition if possible, and march them immediately to this place. I can only add that the greater the expedition used, the more essential and honorable the service will probably be. I am George Washington." So, 250 years ago, Washington is trying to bring every reinforcement toward New York. Intelligence has been given to him. British baggage is being loaded onto ships, a sign that enemy troops may be preparing to move. We know it. To win the fight for independence was by any account virtually impossible. America had no standing army. There was no formal military training. Our soldiers consisted of volunteers with varying skills and commitment. And the campaign in New York, as you all know, was not a successful one. And yet, over the next 8.5 years, Washington made the impossible possible. With nearly superhuman patience, he took command of a diverse array of American soldiers and defeated the most fearsome military force on earth. Thanks to that revolutionary generation, today Americans are not subjects, we are citizens. We are the beneficiaries of an enlightened political system based on civilian rule and consent of the governed, where all of us can enjoy life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We at Mount Vernon are honored to recognize recipients of the Order of Purple Heart, first known as the Badge of Military Merit in 1782, established by George Washington to recognize all soldiers who made our liberties possible. As Washington explained, his motives were to honor acts of bravery amongst his regular soldiers because, and I quote, "the road to glory in a patriot army and a free country is thus open to all." We are grateful for the hundreds of thousands of brave men and women who have been wounded or given their lives over 2 centuries to affirm the revolutionary principles that undergird this great country. I hope that all of you know Purple Heart recipients are welcome here free of charge each and every day. We welcome your families and invite you to come back often. George Washington's home is your home. The military community has been welcome here for over 160 years, when in 1858, a group of women became the founders of this great place. A mere 50 years after George Washington's death, Mount Vernon had fallen into disrepair. His relatives could no longer afford to operate Mount Vernon and offered the property for sale, first to the federal government and then to the Commonwealth of Virginia. Both of them said no, and so a group of fearless ladies, who named themselves the Mount Vernon Ladies Association of the Union, banded together to rescue the home, raising $200,000 to purchase the estate. We have been responsible for management and oversight ever since. Even during the tumultuous years of the Civil War, the Ladies Association ensured that both Union and Confederate soldiers could pay tribute to General Washington after laying down their arms. General Winfield Scott issued Order Number 13, declaring the estate's status as nonpartisan. As I conclude, let me give a shout out to the Boeing Corporation, which has been a faithful sponsor of this event for many years. We are delighted to have Mr. Linwood Ham with us today. Would you please stand up? He's a graduate of West Point. Let us just say thank you for your support. It is now my honor to introduce the Mount Vernon Chamber Singers for the singing of the national anthem. And again, welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for your service.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose proud stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Cross. I'm the manager of Living History here at George Washington's Mount Vernon. And on behalf of the Mount Vernon Ladies Association, I would like to thank you, and I'm honored to welcome you to the commemoration of National Purple Heart Day. At Mount Vernon, we pay tribute to the legacy of the Purple Heart with a simple memorial located just outside our main gate. This monument is mile marker 0, the starting point for the Purple Heart Trail, which runs across all 50 states. I think Mount Vernon, George Washington's home, his beloved home, in fact, is a fitting location for such a marker. As the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army and a veteran of a previous war, General Washington knew the cost of military service quite well. Though the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence has now come and gone, the 250th anniversary of the Battle of Brooklyn is just 19 days away. On August 27th, 1776, on this particular day, George Washington watched as around 400 Maryland troops under the command of General Sterling charged the British line repeatedly, 4 to 5 different times, allowing other soldiers to escape off the field. For their bravery, 259 of them were killed. Washington observed the scene and reportedly cried out, "Good God, what brave fellows I must this day lose." Washington knew that you did not have to be an officer to show courage and commitment. In 1782, he established the badge of military merit to honor soldiers who performed with virtuous ambition, unusual gallantry, and extraordinary fidelity. Recipients were awarded a Purple Heart made out of silk or cloth to be worn over their left breast. This Purple Heart award was unique because it was available to all ranks of the Army at a time when European tradition demanded that only officers receive any decorations for merit. The badge of military merit was intended by Washington to be a permanent decoration. However, it was not used again after the Revolutionary War until it was reestablished as the Purple Heart Medal on February 22nd, 1932, Washington's 200th birthday, under the direction of the Army Chief of Staff, famed General Douglas MacArthur, who was the first to receive the award. The Purple Heart Medal is awarded to any member of the Armed Forces of the United States who, while serving under competent authority in any capacity with one of the U.S. Armed Forces, has been wounded, killed, or has died of wounds received from an opposing enemy force while in armed combat, or as a result of an act of international terrorism, or while serving as part of a peacekeeping force. Which brings me back to Mount Vernon, this sacred place. Thanks to the preservation efforts of the Ladies Association, George Washington's home continues to welcome American citizens and American heroes alike who can pay tribute to the sacrifices made for our liberties. Today, we are honored to welcome here an extraordinary group of men and women who share Washington's love of country and commitment to service, and who have sacrificed and served with honor. We are very lucky today because we are all in the company of heroes. So I want to recognize and acknowledge those for whom we hold this event, these service members who have been wounded or killed in the defense of our nation. As I read from this list, please stand if you are able and remain standing. If you are a family member who is representing their loved one as a recipient, please stand also, if able, in honor of that person. If you have served in World War II or are a family member, please stand. The Korean War, the Vietnam War, our nation's campaigns in regards to such nations as the Dominican Republic, Grenada, and Panama, the First Gulf War, any peacekeeping operations or from an act of international terrorism, campaigns in Iraq and Afghanistan, and ongoing conflicts to this day. We thank all of you, our wounded veterans, for your service and your sacrifice. On behalf of the Mount Vernon Ladies Association and the entire staff here, we want you to know that it is an honor for us to have you here with us today. Thank you very much. I'd like to next take a moment to introduce Julian Purdy. Mr. Purdy served in the Biden-Harris administration as the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Policy in the Veterans Employment and Training Services at the U.S. Department of Labor, DOL. In this role, he managed two offices that oversaw policy, congressional engagement, strategic outreach, external communications, and research. Purdy played a pivotal role in developing the agency's budget, to give you a bit of a promotion there, sir. Purdy played a pivotal role in developing the agency's budget and yearly performance metrics, providing programmatic oversight and launching multiple initiatives within the agency. Before his appointment, Purdy served as professional staff member on the Economic Opportunity Subcommittee of the U.S. House of Representatives Veterans Affairs Committee. On the Veterans Affairs Committee, Purdy was responsible for conceptualizing, drafting, and analyzing legislation related to military transition, employment, education, vocational training, home loans, and homelessness. He also served on the Hill in the office of Representative Adam Smith as a fellow in the U.S. House of Representatives Green and Gold Congressional Aid Program, and he completed an internship with the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. Julian is a veteran of the Army Reserves, a graduate of Bethune-Cookman University, and a current MBA student at Howard University. Please welcome Mr. Julian Purdy.
Good morning. As mentioned, my name is Julian Purdy, and I am a resident of the District of Columbia. And in my humble opinion, that is the best city on the Eastern Seaboard, if not the whole world. And as an Army veteran, I'm proud to be at this amazing ceremony to commemorate the creation of the Purple Heart Medal and to celebrate the honor, courage, and sacrifice of the recipients of this prestigious military honorific. As a district resident who enjoys history, I cannot help but marvel at the gorgeous estate of Mount Vernon. I plan to visit the vault where George Washington is interred after this program. And interestingly enough, Congress expressed their desire to entomb the first president of this great nation in Washington, D.C. even though this does not align with Washington's desires to be laid to rest on his own estate. Luckily, Martha never consented or relented to the demands of Congress and President Adams. This example reminds me that we must be ever vigilant citizens and be willing to engage in the political process that makes our democracy great. Because our elected leaders, while oftentimes well-intentioned, may not always get it right. And George Washington fought for the United States to succeed from Britain to give the people the power. And if we do not exercise that right, we are squandering the gift that George and everyone who fought, sacrificed, and died for this country has given us. And a perfect example of the power of citizen advocacy is how one of your very own, Eric Rutberg, has worked with Director Robinson over the last year, and Eric's unrelenting spirit and efforts have created a lasting legacy for Purple Heart recipients for the District of Columbia. And before I bring Director Robinson to the stage to talk about this very special project, I'd like to first tell you a little bit about him. Oh, actually, I don't see your bio here. Sorry. Do you have it? I don't see your bio here. Okay. Well, I'll tell you this really quick. Yeah, okay. So in my short time knowing Director Robinson, I will say that he is the true definition of a public servant and leader. He stands out front and helps and supports anybody who comes to him and will find a way to meet the needs of the people that he serves. As the director of the DC DMV, we have so many constituents and issues that we have to face every day. But with him and his talented leadership and staff, they make sure that no customer goes away dissatisfied. And even though I don't have his bio, I can't say enough about him today. So I'll stop here, and I'll welcome Director Robinson to the stage. And thank you, sir, for your service.
I think that's the best bio I've had. Like, you did that. Very, very well done, Julian, for that bio. But good morning. My name is Gabriel Robinson, and I'm the director of the District of Columbia Department of Motor Vehicles. And I am honored to be here at George Washington's Mount Vernon for this very special Purple Heart ceremony. I am profoundly grateful for the immense courage, for the immense commitment and sacrifice of those who answered our nation's call to duty through service. If you are here and you have served, you are currently serving, or you are the family member of someone who is a service member, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you. In November, I went before the DC Council to testify in favor of the Purple Heart Specialty Tag alongside retired U.S. Captain and Purple Heart recipient Eric Rutberg. He's here today, and I think he has claimed tag number 1. It is my knowledge. In May, the Purple Heart Amendment Act of 2025 went into effect, allowing our teams to create and design the tag to commemorate the bravery of the combat wounded veterans and Purple Heart recipients. Today, I am pleased to announce that we are unveiling the new tag design that was created with you in mind by our team alongside Mayor Muriel Bowser and her office. This new tag joins the lineup of existing DC DMV specialty tags for DC veterans, DC woman veterans, disabled veterans of America, and veteran specialty tags for every branch of the U.S. Armed Forces. The District of Columbia government is proud to recognize the bravery of service members from every branch of the military, including those who were wounded or killed in action of duty with a distinguished license plate. This new tag honors Purple Heart recipients and their surviving spouses or spouse. As we all know, with all veteran specialty tags, there is a minimal fund collected from the Purple Heart tags, and we will deposit all funds from that collection to the Office of Veterans Affairs, a fund that they have used for servicing district veterans. The fee is a one-time application fee of $10. To those who serve, thank you again for your immense courage and sacrifice. Now, I would like to unveil the District of Columbia Purple Heart license plate. Will Captain Eric Ruckberg join me for the unveiling? Thank you.
It is now my great privilege to introduce to you Angelo Wider, Commander Chapter 353, Military Order of the Purple Heart. Angelo Wider was born and raised in the Bronx, New York. He enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1964 and completed his basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey. After spending time in Hawaii, he deployed to Vietnam with Company C, 1st Battalion, 27th Infantry, 25th Infantry Division, which was known as the Wolfhounds. Wounded in action in 1966, he avoided fatal injury as the bullet went through his body without puncturing any vital organs. He became the youngest non-commissioned officer in his unit in Vietnam at the age of 19 years and 4 days old. Angelo completed his bachelor's degree from City University of New York and his master's from George Washington University. It's a good school. He attended executive programs while at the U.S. Postal Service, including the Senior Managers in Government program at Harvard University and the Chief Financial Officer program at the University of Maryland. He worked in telecommunications for 10 years and then for the U.S. Postal Service Career Executive Service, where, as a combat veteran and Purple Heart recipient, he served as Master of Ceremonies for the unveiling of the first Purple Heart stamp at Mount Vernon, Virginia. Meeting several patriots, he joined the Military Order of the Purple Heart. Angelo was subsequently recruited out of retirement by the Military Order of the Purple Heart to lead their national service program to help veterans and their families process claims for compensation and benefits with the Department of Veterans Affairs. Angelo has also participated in the design and issuance of the Buffalo Soldier Stamp. Since retiring from the Postal Service in 2010, Angelo has been involved with several community service projects. He currently serves as commander of MOPH Chapter 353 here in Virginia and serves as the legislative director for the National MOPH. Angelo resides in Loudoun County, Virginia, with his lovely wife, Camille. Please welcome Mr. Angelo Wider.
Well, obviously they had my bio. Well, you've heard a lot. First of all, welcome to all. It's a pleasure. We've been doing this for a couple of years now, and Mount Vernon keeps getting better and better and better. And how'd you like that group this morning singing? Ah, lovely. I know they give me the eye. They say, damn, he's already going off script. Anyway, good morning and welcome. On behalf of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, greetings and salutations. I am Angelo Wider, MOPH Chapter 353 Commander, proudly, and we are once again delighted to share the Purple Heart Weekend event with you here at George Washington's Mount Vernon. Up front, I would like to acknowledge and commend the Mount Vernon leadership and staff. They do a wonderful job. They are wonderful collaborators, great partners. They have stepped up and stepped in. George Washington would be proud. Thank you again. I also want to recognize and thank our major sponsor, Boeing. All right, longtime supporter, friend, and keep coming back and keep on coming. The Washington Commanders was here last year, and that was great. So we go Commanders. We have representation here from MOPH, National Region, and our State Department. Our Commander, Ben, stand up, Ben. Ben King, he's the Virginia Department Commander. And I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge and express appreciation to Gold Star families, those that made the ultimate sacrifice and the families had to go on without them, but they continue to persist in terms of veterans and helping those who did make the ultimate sacrifice. So a hand for the Gold Stars. Well, I'm not going to go into the history. You've been given a history lesson by 2 or 3 people, but hey, it is an honor to have served. You know, no one wants to win this medal. No one wants to get this medal, but it's heartwarming when you see the number of people, especially when I look at young people now when we go out to do ROTC and things of this nature, that are willing to step up. You know, so I'm encouraged by that, and I just hope our political environment gets better. No more political commentary. Okay. Okay. I encourage all within the sound of my voice to commit and renew your dedication to supporting wounded veterans, advocating for veteran rights, and fostering a sense of community. Thank you, George Washington. Thank you, veterans. Thank you all for being a part of this recognition of the Purple Heart and honoring the recipients. And last night we did the wreath laying at mile mark 0. And those that were there last night and you came back again today for some more, thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. Now, without any further ado, it is my pleasure and my honor to introduce a true leader, a true patriot, our first president and first real commander-in-chief, our gracious host, the Honorable George Washington. All right, George. There you go.
Gentlemen, ladies, neighbors, honored guests, and veterans, welcome to Mount Vernon. Pleased to see so many in attendance this day. Mrs. Washington and I are filled with uncommon joy to have you all visiting our home. Mount Vernon is far away from the battlefields upon which our liberties were secured by the sacrifices of our soldiers. Hard-fought freedoms, dearly won, and now enjoyed by the citizens of this generous nation. Now, while all citizens have been required to sacrifice at crucial times in our history, those who choose to take up arms in defense of their country face the greatest sacrifices of all. To them is owed a debt which can never be repaid. I have not time to share with you all the calamities and hardships that were endured with patient sufferance by the men of the Continental Army. I'm sure many of you know many of those stories. Starvation is our constant companion since the very outset of hostilities. There were times in the depths of winter when the men would boil leather from their shoes to make soup, or eat tree bark just to fill the rumbling in their stomachs. Yet they endured. Though we tried to find uniforms and clothing for all the men, often they were dressed in little more than rags, without even shoes to wear. As a matter of fact, on the road to Valley Forge, you could mark our progress by the bloody footprints in the snow. Yet they endured. And final indignity. Although the men were supposed to be paid monthly, the Congress was often short of funds. And there are soldiers who went a year without pay, and yet they endured. These are the men who fought for the freedoms that you now enjoy. These are the men whose endurance in the face of suffering made them heroes. In war, soldiers fight, and generals are crowned with laurels. Too often we honor those who lead and not those who serve. Throughout the war, the Continental Congress would occasionally strike medals to commemorate a significant event, and in almost every instance, the recipient of those medals was a high-ranking officer. This was, after all, the practice of European armies, but we were not a European army. No. We were an army of free men fighting for liberty. I knew that the road to glory in a patriot army and a free country must be open to all. Therefore, in 1782, I designed 3 badges of military honor to honor the service of the common soldier. The first 2 badges were badges of honorary distinction. The first of these badges was for any veteran non-commissioned officer or soldier who had served in excess of 3 years with bravery, fidelity, and good conduct. The badge itself was to be designated by a piece of white cloth of an angular form known as a chevron to be placed on the left sleeve of the uniform coat. The second badge was for those men who had served in excess of 6 years, to be represented by 2 pieces of cloth parallel to one another set in a similar form. For an army that had begun with 1-year term of enlistments, I thought it was important to honor those returning soldiers who had served for an extended period of time. Now, it's the door. The third badge, the one we are here to honor today, is the badge of military merit. I was desirous to cherish the virtuous ambition in the soldiers and to foster and encourage every species of military merit. Therefore, I directed that any time a singularly meritorious action be performed, the author of that action be permitted to wear upon the facing over their left breast the figure of a heart in purple fabric or silk edged with a narrow lace or binding. This was to be awarded not only in instances of unusual gallantry, but also of extraordinary fidelity and essential service in any way to the army. Those men so designated were to be enrolled in a book of merit so that their names might never be forgotten in the annals of this great nation. And then those men, receiving this last designation, were suffered to pass all guards and sentinels which officers were permitted to do. Despite the hardships and suffering the Continental Army endured. More than that, they persevered and they won. Not the generals. Not me. The men. I felt that it was important that we honor these men. Now, all soldiers, everyone who serves, is expected to serve with bravery and good conduct and extraordinary fidelity. However, there are a handful who go beyond what might be reasonably expected of a soldier. It is for them that the badge of military merit was created. I directed that this order was to be a permanent one. I know not how many may go on to earn such a distinction in future generations of our country, but every single one of them deserves the favorable notice that a brave and faithful soldier deserves from his countrymen.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct privilege to introduce our next guest and our guest speaker today for the National Purple Heart ceremony. Lieutenant General Johnny K. Davis currently serves as the Commanding General of the United States Army Recruiting Command. In this critical role, he oversees the entirety of the Army's officer and enlisted talent acquisition, training, and strategic marketing, shaping the future of our force. A native of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, he holds a bachelor's degree in business administration, as well as master's degrees in leadership development and national security and strategic studies. Over his 35-year career in the United States Army, Lieutenant General Davis has served in a wide variety of pivotal positions, including multiple operational commands, his extensive awards and decorations, which include the Army Distinguished Service Medal, the Legion of Merit, the Bronze Star, and the Army Commendation Medal for Valor speak volumes about his dedication. But it is his combat leadership and personal sacrifice that brings a profound personal connection to today's solemn ceremony. On the 13th of June, 2010, while serving in Afghanistan as the battalion commander of the renowned 1st Strike Battalion, 1st Battalion, 502nd Infantry Regiment, 2nd Brigade Combat Team, 101st Airborne Division, then Lieutenant Colonel Davis was wounded in action. For the wounds he sustained that day while leading his soldiers in combat, he was awarded the Purple Heart. He is a leader who truly understands the cost of freedom and the weight of the medal we honor today. So, please join me in welcoming a distinguished combat veteran and a fellow Purple Heart recipient, Lieutenant General Johnny K. Davis.
Well, first of all, good morning, everyone. It's so great to see you. And a little overwhelming, you know. I was a young 13-year-old when I first came to Washington, D.C. With our, of course, the school trip. And our school trip brought us to Mount Vernon. So a kid, young boy from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, now, you know, fast forward, having this really propensity to serve our great nation, continues to serve, and then stand here on the very ground that I used to visit and was just simply amazed. So I want to share that with you, but it was just a wonderful experience to come back, and when they reached out, of course, I had to say yes. But to all of you, God bless you, and thanks for being here this morning. And thanks for inviting me to today's ceremony. More importantly, our Purple Heart recipients and our Gold Star families, your presence humbles us, and it is a profound honor to stand with you today. It is fitting that we come together to the beloved home of our nation's first Commander-in-Chief to reflect on the true cost of freedom. The grounds of Mount Vernon remind us of the origins and enduring meaning of the medal we honor today. This is very personal for me, as you know, and my family, to be part of this historical gathering, and he was absolutely right. Kandahar, right outside of Makwan, June 13, 2010, I and 9 other of my soldiers, complex attack. It was a rough day, but I will never forget that day, and I promised the Lord I would always honor and support our fellow wounded warriors by all means possible. I will always say yes to events like today. The Purple Heart is unique among our military decorations. It is a medal that no one seeks to earn. It is not awarded for a flawless tactical maneuver or strategic victory. It is a solemn acknowledgement of sacrifice and service to our nation. Every Purple Heart recipient represents a moment of impact and defense of our nation, our way of life. But as we look at the recipients here today, we're reminded that this medal represents far more than just a wound sustained on the battlefield. It reflects courage under fire, the visible scars that testify to sacrifice, and the invisible burdens carried along after. And above all, it represents resilience. To the Purple Heart recipients here today, you faced the worst, you bore the cost of our nation's defense, and you returned home to continue contributing to your communities. You are a living embodiment of the American spirit. We also know that these wounds are never carried alone. The impact ripples through the entire family. And so to the spouses, the parents, and the children who became, caregivers overnight, and those by their side who spent endless hours in hospital rooms, who managed the long and difficult roads to recovery, and who have served as steadfast pillars of strength, we see you. Your sacrifices are woven into the legacy of this medal. You are quiet heroes, and our nation owes you an unpayable debt. George Washington understood this vital link between how a nation honors its veterans and its ability to secure its future. He knew that recognizing sacrifice, honoring both the wounded and our fallen, was essential to preserving the Republic. Today, as we stand in his home, let's reaffirm our commitment to that idea. Let us ensure that the sacrifices made by these men and women are honored not only with ceremonies, but with our daily actions as citizens, leaders, and as Americans worthy of the burdens they carry. In the words of George Washington, to be prepared for war is one of the most effectual means of preserving peace. And for this, I just want to say to each and every one of you for taking the time to be here this morning, God bless you all. Love you. It's, coming in on a weekend to be a part of something special like this is truly important. And I just want to say thank you. God bless you all. Be all you can be. Thank you.
It is now my great honor to introduce to you Andre Logan, Director of the Virginia State Veterans Cemeteries Department of Veteran Services. Mr. Logan was named Director of the Virginia State Veterans Cemeteries effective November 10th, 2025. In this role, he is responsible for all burial, maintenance, and administrative operations of the Virginia Veterans Cemeteries in Amelia, Albert G. Horton Jr. Memorial Veterans Cemetery in Suffolk, and the Southwest Virginia Veterans Cemetery in Dublin, Virginia. Mr. Logan previously served as the Director of Great Lakes National Cemetery in Holly, Michigan, Fort Mackinac Post Cemetery on Mackinac Island, Michigan, Lakeside Soldiers Lot in Port Huron, Michigan, and Fort Custer National Cemetery in Battle Creek, Michigan. In addition, he is a 2022 graduate of the Cemetery Director Development Program, CDDP. The CDDP is a year-long comprehensive training program designed to develop future cemetery directors for the National Cemetery Administration, NCA. Prior to this assignment, Mr. Logan served as the management analyst at Indiantown Gap National Cemetery in Annville, Pennsylvania, from May 2016 to 2021. There, he was responsible for the cemetery's budget, contracts, and assisting the director with the execution of the approved annual financial plan and cemetery operations. Mr. Logan previously served as a cemetery representative. Mr. Logan joined NCA in January 2016 as a term caretaker at Culpeper National Cemetery in Virginia. Mr. Logan is also a veteran who served 15 years in the U.S. Army as an engineer and paratrooper. He deployed multiple times in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom. Please welcome Mr. Andre Logan.
Thank you guys very much for having me today. I was more worried about my purple tie and I forgot my glasses, so bear with me as I read this proclamation. I wanted to fit in with the Military Order of the Purple Heart. No matter what state I went to, there was always one organization that I absolutely loved going to their conferences and loved being in the room with them, and that is the Military Order of the Purple Heart. When you walk in and you see that purple on everybody, including the family members, it just does something very touching to you, and you know that you're in the right place. So with that, I would like to go ahead and read this proclamation that we have, dedicating our 3 veteran cemeteries as Purple Heart cemeteries. Whereas the Purple Heart, the oldest military decoration in present use, originally established as the badge of military merit by George Washington on August 7th, 1782, and is awarded to the members of the United States Armed Forces who have been wounded or killed in action in defense of our nation. Whereas the Virginia Department of Veteran Services owns, operates, and stewards 3 veteran cemeteries: the Virginia Veteran Cemeteries in Amelia, Virginia, the Albert G. Horton Jr. Memorial Cemetery in Suffolk, Virginia, and the Southwest Virginia Veteran Cemetery in Dublin, Virginia, as places of honor, dignity, and remembrance for those who answered the nation's call. Whereas Purple Heart recipients are interred upon hallowed grounds at each of these 3 state cemeteries in the Commonwealth of Virginia and officially designated a Purple Heart state on January 18, 2016, reinforcing a statewide commitment to honoring combat wounded veterans. Whereas the citizens of the Commonwealth of Virginia hold deep appreciation and enduring gratitude for the service and the sacrifice of all Purple Heart recipients laid to rest within these 3 cemeteries, the Department of Virginia Military Order of the Purple Heart stands as a partner with our shared duty to ensure the sacrifices of those interred upon these sacred grounds are honored and remembered. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Virginia Department of Veteran Services hereby designates the Virginia Veteran Cemeteries in Amelia, the Albert G. Horton Veterans Memorial Veteran Cemetery in Suffolk, and the Southwest Virginia Cemetery in Dublin as Purple Heart cemeteries, sacred grounds set apart in perpetual honor for all Purple Heart recipients interred upon their grounds and those who have shed the blood in defense of our nation. Be it further proclaimed that August 7th of each year shall be recognized as Purple Heart Day at each of these 3 veteran cemeteries, and all citizens are encouraged to observe this day with appropriate ceremonies, display of the American flag, and other expressions in gratitude and recognition. Be it further acknowledged that the Virginia Department of Veterans Services welcomes and acknowledges the partnership of the Department of Virginia Military Order of the Purple Heart in this designation and offers its enduring gratitude for the Order's shared commitment to honor and remembrance. And witness herefore, we have hereunto set into our hands and caused the seal of Virginia Department of Veterans Services to be affixed this 30th day of July, 2026, signed John D. Maxwell, Commissioner of the Virginia Department of Veterans Services, and Andre Logan, Director of the Virginia State Veterans Cemeteries. And here, I would like to present this citation to Ben King, the Virginia State Commander for the Military Order of the Purple Heart.
Ladies and gentlemen, recipients of the Purple Heart Medal and our guests, we are honored by your attendance today, especially here at George Washington's Mount Vernon. We strive to share the stories of the sacrifices made by those who have served this great country. Mount Vernon and the Military Order of the Purple Heart value educating our fellow citizens regarding the Purple Heart Medal and how and why it is awarded, as well as honor the man who initiated the award, General Washington, although I suspect he would prefer that we honored those who received it. And what a fitting place, then, to commemorate the award and honor its recipient here at his home. I want all to know that the Military Order of the Purple Heart is the only congressionally chartered veterans organization exclusively for combat wounded veterans. Any Purple Heart recipient may join the order. If you are not a member, please ask any of those in today's audience from the Military Order of the Purple Heart how you can become a member. If you wouldn't mind just raising your hand so folks who don't know who you are. If you're part of the military, member of the Purple Heart, so folks can find you. There's a few over here in the front and around. So we now invite all Purple Heart recipients and their families to join us at the Mount Vernon Inn for a reception beginning at 12 p.m. Thank you again for coming. And at this time, before we conclude, please rise once more for the playing of taps as we end today's ceremony.